In our last video, we demonstrated the new Open Router integration in Live Canvas. This gives our AI assistant access to the latest models, including some free ones. Today, I want to show you what sets this Live Canvas AI integration apart from every other WordPress implementation, and why I think it's the absolute best approach in terms of scale and control. So now let's go a little bit deeper. We'll build a couple landing pages, one with prompts and one with screenshots. Here I am in the back end of Open Router. So I just created an API key. I've set myself a budget of $2 to do all of this, and we'll come back and look at the activity later. I am going to be building a series of prompts, and I've already predefined all of those here just in a document on my desktop. So let's dive in and start building. And this is the site that I'm going to be building in. You may remember this website information context from a previous video we've done, but this is like a landscaping site. I'm going to build from scratch, hit add section. Okay, and this is my first prompt. Create a full width hero section using Bootstrap 5. It should feature a bold headline, a short description, and 2 call to action buttons, primary and secondary. The background should be a high quality image with a dark overlay. Make it fully responsive and ensure proper spacing and alignment. And I've selected a model here from Open Router. I'm going to use Claude 3.7 Sonnet. There we go. I'm already curious. How did it create that image? It's just pulled it in from Unsplash. Perfect. I'm delighted. On to the next section. Design a Bootstrap 5 carousel with 5 slides, each containing a high-resolution image and caption. Below the main carousel, add a clickable thumbnail to navigate between the slides. Make sure it's fully responsive and supports touch gestures. I just hit Command P to refresh the JavaScript on that, just to test if this is working. Yeah, just broken images. So let's see if we can fix that with the AI assistant. Please fix all of the images. Okay, hilariously, it's only fixed some of the images. I'm just going to do that myself really quick. Okay, I didn't do anything fancy. I just used the same 2 images there and repeated them. And I will point out that there is some nice JavaScript here to handle the thumbnail clicks, and it has the data bootstrap touch equals true. Next section. Build a pricing table using Bootstrap 5. Include 3 pricing tiers with different price points, a list of features, and prominent Get Started button. Use hover effects to highlight the selected plan. The layout should be fully responsive and visually appealing. That's pretty good. I am finding it a little slower than usual. You never know what the load is like on one of these things. So what I'm going to do is hit Add Section, and just for kicks, I'm going to go to the AI Assistant again. I'm just going to leave the prompt as is, and I'm going to switch to Gemini Flash 2.0. And we're going to try that. That was like 5 times faster. But overall, I do like what Claude did better, so maybe it was worth it. I'm going to get rid of this section and continue. Okay, and let's switch to Claude 3.5 this time. Create a testimonial slider using Bootstrap 5. Each slide should display a card with a customer's photo, name, and role, and a short testimonial. Use a smooth transition effect and include navigation dots below the slider. Ensure it looks great on all screen sizes. Okay, that's a little unusual, but let's see if we could just fix that in the prompt. Please place the image of the testimonial person on the left in a small circle. Well, for whatever reason, it's not doing it, so let's fix it ourselves. So I just got in there and tweaked the code a little bit. Now let's check all those screen sizes. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, for the next section, design a feature section using Bootstrap 5 Grid. Display 3 key features, each represented by an icon, a title, and a short description. Use a clean and modern layout with equal spacing for proper alignment and a professional look. Okay, let's get it to just add those icons. All right, I'm going to say, please add SVG icons above the title of each feature and use arrows as placeholders. I don't think it's going to find 3 garden and flower icons that I'll otherwise be happy with. There. Okay, next section. Create a blog section using Bootstrap 5. Display 4 blog posts as cards in responsive grid. Each card should contain a featured image, title, short excerpt, and read more. Add a hover effect that subtly enlarges the card when hovered over. Hey, not bad at all. So it has hard-coded these in here. It's not actually using a WP query or tangible type thing. The only change I just made was that the placeholder image service that they were using seems to no longer exist. So I just changed to a different placeholder. extra good with real images there. Okay, let's go and add the next section. Build a stylish contact form using Bootstrap 5. Include floating labels for a modern user experience. The form should contain a field for name, email, subject, and message, along with a submit button. Add form validation. I'm going to go back to Claude for this one and submit. So just opened the page on the front end, and if I hit submit, it does have validation right there. It's pretty cool. This form isn't wired up to actually function, but I wanted to demonstrate that it could build a form and follow it pretty exactly. I love that when I click in here, the label minimizes, and it is semantically built correctly. Like there is a label here that even like screen readers would find. There is a placeholder, but it's not only using the placeholder as the label, which is like an accessibility no-no. So yeah, that's really great. For the next section, we're going to build a frequently asked questions accordion. So build an FAQ section using the Bootstrap accordion component. Include 5 expandable questions, each revealing an answer when clicked. Ensure the accordion has smooth transitions and adapts well on mobile. I probably don't need to say use Bootstrap or work well on mobile. There are some prompts that are just like built into Live Canvas that probably covers that stuff. But when I'm going through the exercise of writing out my prompts, this is how I'm thinking about it, like as though I'm talking to a junior developer. So I just like to include that stuff. Hey, that works great. And finally, let's add a footer. Create a Bootstrap footer with 4 columns, include sections for company info, useful links, contact information, and social media icons. Ensure a dark themed background with white text for contrast. Make sure it's fully responsive. Hey, not bad. It did not include the social icons, but it did put a place for it, and that's really all I needed. But that's my landing page. I'm pretty happy with that. And so far, I've used 25 cents of my $2 budget. Next, let's build a landing page with screenshot to code. I've got a folder here with some screenshots. There's 9 sections. We're going to start with this hero banner. Then we'll jump over to this thing with some icons. We've got a feature section, another feature section, pricing table, testimonials, frequently asked questions, call to action, and footer. If you're curious, we got this one on Dribbble, but sometimes we look for inspiration from places like Figma or Envato Elements. There's lots of beautiful designs out there, but we wanted to showcase this one for the demo. Link in the description. Going to build from scratch, and we'll just start with that first section. So AI Assistant. Now we're going to go to Screenshot to Code, choose our model, and let's grab our first file. I won't do the side-by-side comparison for all of them as we go, but you can see here from the screenshot to the first section that we did, we've got the header, we've got the hero, and solid starting point, we would just need to put in that background image. And so we're off to a strong start. Let's do the next section. Through the magic of editing, I'm just going to speed through all the builds, and we'll talk about it in a second. Just going to pause to say, I like that it remembers the last image that I used, and because I have them all named with numbers just so they would sort, I don't have to keep track of the last one that I did. I can just click in and I know it's the next one. So that's a little hot tip. Name your files well. And there we have it. It was considerably faster to do 9 screenshots in a row than 9 prompts in a row. And we have something here that is, again, a very strong starting point. While we're here, I'm going to show you one more trick. I'm comparing section 8 here, this call to action section. You can see that it's copied the text from the screenshot and put that in here. So I'm going back to the AI assistant, and I'm going to go back to prompts. You'll remember that I set the AI settings of Live Canvas to be about a gardening site. So without any context or instructions, I just hit Go Ask AI, and then it gives me a really quick rewrite to be about the topic of this website. So when you use screenshot to code, it's going to take the text from the screenshot, but if you just hit Go Ask AI, it's going to do a rewrite based on the context of your site. And that is just so helpful. So now let's just do a quick side by side. So we've got the header, we've got the hero, then we have this integrate with the tools you use. Now we didn't do every screenshot, so let's just jump to this next section. We've got this grid here. So we would change that image to match sort of the height of this bento grid that we've got here, and maybe tweak the alignment of that button. On this section, I would add background color. I see something else we're going to come back and talk about there. Got my pricing table. Here's our testimonials. On the screenshot here, it looks like it's a carousel that's perhaps sliding off of the screen. And I see that the progress bar lines here have been translated into lines that are below the name. So maybe this is the section that would need the most work if we were going to try and be pixel perfect with this thing. But I mean, this is also a solid starting point if you only had 3 testimonials. So not bad for a few minutes work, that's for sure. So in total today, I've spent 46 cents. I've made 29 uses of the AI. And on average, it looks like I was spending less than a cent per request. I can tell by looking at the timestamps here that most of my expensive ones, that being under 3 cents, but over 2 cents, they were from the screenshot to code. And I can tell you, it would cost me considerably more just in my time to make one of those things if I was going to hand code it. So it continues to be an incredible technology. Naturally, I could have saved money by using Google's Gemini 2.0 Flash, because it's like 40 times less expensive than Claude 3.7 Sonnet. 40 times the cost. That sounds like a lot, but you know, in total it was like 36 cents. So there you go. So here's the breakdown. Using prompts, it cost me 25 cents and it took about half an hour. Using screenshots only cost 20 cents and took about 8 minutes. These aren't really as comparable as that because I was fixing things as I went along on prompts and I was messing up my lines on this video. But compared to building a page from scratch, they cost very similar and they didn't take very much time. This was also mostly using Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is like 40 times more expensive than Google Gemini. So I guess the point I'm making here is you have to try both. One major eye-opener for me is that prompting really forces me to stop and consider what I'm asking for and really carefully word it and explain it, give more context. It's kind of like writing a really great Jira ticket or like to-do task for a junior developer. And I do find that ultimately it's better results. But like I said, screenshots is really easy and it's a little bit faster. So I do find myself reaching for that one a lot too. Now for some tips, tricks, and quirks. I find that the AI assistant is amazing at creating sections. So smaller screenshots, maybe just of like a single row or perhaps just a single block within a section. And it's really good at making scoped changes within areas like that. And this tool works best with fine little refinements as you go. I always recommend that people approach their use of generative AI with a mindset of an owner, that you're going to take what it gives you as a suggestion, as a draft, and then you're fixing it as you go. You're really going to own the content that it makes. Sometimes people ask, how clean is the code that the AI writes? So let's just take a look at this section here with the frequently asked question accordions. When I jump into here, I see clean indented code. It's all in a section and it's using those bootstrap classes like there's container, text center. If we look at one of the accordions, like right here, this is an accordion item. There it just uses the normal markup that a bootstrap accordion has. There's a button, there's a content section there. And it even does the thing where it has an ID that is unique to the button. And there's the ARIA labeled by on the content panel. This helps screen readers and search engines to understand the association with this content. And again, there's the data bootstrap target collapse 1. There's the ARIA controls for it and the ID on the content panel as well. And so you can't just make one of these things and copy paste it a bunch of times. You actually have to take into account those unique IDs. And the AI nails that every time. Another quirk of these AI tools is that they sometimes forget or ignore or miss specific requests or requirements. If I look at this section here in the footer, you'll see there's one social media icon. If I go into that code, I want to show you what's going on here. You can see there is one SVG in here already, and the rest are using this italics object with the bootstrap classes, BI for bootstrap icons, and BI Facebook. Now I put this one SVG in here for Instagram, and I got that from icons.getbootstrap.com, and it's the Instagram one. There you can see that italic notation. That is going to be calling the font, which we do not have on our site. Now we could get that quite easily by just including that in our theme. And that looks like this. It would just load from a CDN, call in that font. But we actually recommend that you would just grab the inline SVG, click copy, and paste that in. Now within Live Canvas itself, there are instructions to prefer SVGs to the font, but sometimes AI forgets. It's just one of those things. I also see that we have the copyright set to 2023. Just another one of those examples of AI not always knowing exactly what's going on. And that's why with the ownership mentality, I just fix that. I own it. No problem. And finally, as we look at this features section, it's clear to me that this would be an image, this whole thing, but the AI didn't realize that. And so here it is just actually marked up the graph that's here. Maybe that actually would be great. Maybe you would want the image of the people and then responsively you could move where that graph is. I probably would have had that built into the image. Another example of that comes from when I was trying to build this section here. Here we have a graphic and this is all about marketing. And so there's the megaphone and there's these icons coming out of it. AI built that and actually just put icons on top of it with absolute positioning. It's easy to fix and just one of those funny things. And really, how can we expect an AI to see this and code it exactly the way that you would want it to be? It is just making an informed guess and it gives us that code that we can use as a starting point. So no complaints from me. It's just one of those things that can be kind of funny sometimes. If there are more tips, tricks, and quirks that I've missed, please put them in the comment. It's still early days on LLM code generation, and it's amazing to think that this will only continue to improve. In the Live Canvas team chat, someone was joking that just 6 months ago was essentially the Middle Ages of this technology. It's only going to improve. This week, the Live Canvas team added another free model to OpenRouter. The name is a mouthful. It's Google Gemini Pro 2.0 Experimental Free. The team regularly tests the available models, and they're carefully curating the list to only include like a really well-rounded, excellent set of models. So you'll have a little bit of everything you need if you want to experiment. Be sure to check them out. Many platforms and WordPress page builders are creating AI integrations, but what sets Live Canvas apart is the direct access to the code that it's generating. The main issue with no-code page builders is what I like to call the black box effect. And it's that like the CSS and the JavaScript continue to scale at one-to-one with your site, and you don't really get to see or change exactly what's happening under the hood. Building off the Bootstrap framework and having direct access to the code that's being generated is an absolute must for websites where performance and control are paramount. Prompts and screenshots are both incredible approaches to building a starting point for your sections and blocks in Live Canvas. Overall, I'm getting better results from a carefully considered prompt that gives the full context and detailed explanation of what I want. But it's a lot more work. So generally, I'm finding myself starting with a screenshot, doing a course level refining with a prompt or two, and then I do the real attention to detail and polish by getting hands on myself, either using code directly or the Live Canvas properties panel. So whether I prompt or screenshot, it depends on the section, but I am starting to develop instincts and habits about which tool I want to use for a given block or section. If you haven't yet set up your free OpenRouter integration, check out our tutorial. The video is linked in the description. Until next time.